building a personal brand, creating content online, working when you want, where you want, and doing basically whatever you want. Silly videos like I'm doing right now. Like if that is something that you would like to, go towards, but you don't really know how to get started, in this video I'm gonna share with you my personal steps, what I would be doing if I'm starting from scratch in 2024, on how you can start your own personal brand. All right, so step number one, in my opinion, the most crucial step in the entire process, and that is ask yourself the question, like, what's the goal behind all of this? Like, why are you trying to do that? And I think that's a very important question that you should ask yourself, and maybe, you can start journaling about that. Like for me personally, when we started our entrepreneurial journey, actually starting to sit down, think about stuff, and just, taking pen and piece of paper and just journal about the thing has been very helpful for me personally and also for my business partner. But ask yourself, what is the goal behind this? Like, are you just trying to build an online presence, a personal brand, content creation skills to make money, or is there more behind that? Like, I think that is very crucial. If your only concern and the only reason why you're doing the thing in the first place is money, then it's gonna be a very hard ride and a very tough journey, and probably you're not gonna get there. Like for example, with Smartphone Filmmaking Pro, with everything that we're doing here, like I'm recording this video on the 12th of April in 2024, and we started in early 2020. So it's 4 years in the making, and we have made over 600 videos on YouTube and more than 400 videos inside of the courses, and I don't know, like 1,000 short videos. So we have put in tons of effort. And if the only objective why we're doing the thing is money, like I can absolutely guarantee you that we would not be at the stage where we currently are. Like for me, I love filmmaking, I love marketing, I love setting up sales funnels, like all that stuff is really fun for me, also for my business partner, for Alex, and that's the reason why we're still in business and why we're still doing the thing. And if you're only trying to do that because, I'm telling you like it's a lot of fun and you can make lots of money, like it's not gonna work and it's not gonna be very, very sustainable over the long run. So definitely make sure to think about your reason behind. The second step is gonna be find a niche that you're actually really interested in and that you're passionate about. Like it's a bit of the same story as we've just been talking about before, but if you're only doing it for the money, or if you're only picking a niche like, finance and money, for example, like that's doing really well on YouTube when it comes to like how much money you can make with it. But if you're only choosing that niche because of money, like it's not gonna be sustainable, and you're not gonna be able to put in the work and to put in your own personality and to do the things that it takes to actually get to a point where it maybe can, become a side hustle where you're making like an extra 1K per month. And then at some point where this becomes your main gig, where you're making, I don't know, maybe 6 figures a year doing that. So the only reason, or the only way to get there, is to find something that you're actually passionate about. Because like we've talked about before, obviously there are some unicorns out there that just make a bunch of videos here and there, and they create content, here and there, and they're completely oversubscribed, and everything is going nuts. But most of the times, like I would say 95 or 99 out of 100 times, like I would even go that far, like it's always hard work, it's always dedication, and you can only do that if you're really passionate about what you're talking about. So definitely make sure to think about that before you get started. Step 3 in the process is do some kind of a competitor analysis. And when doing that, then one thing that is very important for me, and one thing that I want to give you on the way, is don't do that to be to get intimidated and to get to a point where you feel like, okay, everything is already out there, and everybody else is already crushing it, and there is no more spot for me. Like that's not the goal. But generally speaking, like let's say for example you're passionate about fishing or watches, for example. Like is there a market out there? Like I don't know, for example. But what I would do, like I'm just going to show you what I would do if I were in your situation. So as we've talked about, let's say we're passionate about watches. Like I like watches, for example. Let's see if watches for beginners, whatever. Let's just search for these kinds of topics. And as you can see, oh my God, Teddy Baldessar, 2.6 million views 3 years ago, 1.2 million views, 740,000 views. So there is a big market behind that. Does that mean that that market is already saturated and you can't do anything in that market? No, absolutely not. Like the goal of this competitor analysis is, finding out, are there other people also that are passionate about this topic? Because, there might be topics out there where just a very small fraction of people are passionate about this, or where things are, limited due to geographical things or whatever. And also, some things are just not as fun. And I thought, watches are not super fun, but if I see Nico Leonard with 739,000 views, and then again Teddy Baldessar with a whopping 1 million subscribers, like that tells me the market is there. There are people that are passionate about this topic, and now it's on you, on your term. Like if you're also passionate about this, and if you want to create some content in that area, like how can you differentiate? How can you bring in your own taste into all of that? Another thing that I would also very much recommend that you should do, in case you cannot find like that many YouTube videos, but you still feel like there is a market out there and you still feel like you want to do it anyways. Like what I would recommend is just, again, take a piece of paper and a pen and just brainstorm content ideas. Just write down all of the content ideas that you can think about. And then you will notice pretty quickly, like, can you think about 100 video ideas like super fast, super easy, or are you struggling at the 6th video idea already? Because, obviously also if you're trying to build a personal brand and you try to establish yourself as a key person of influence in a specific area, like you need to be putting in the work consistently, and you need to put out content on a consistent basis. And if you don't have enough content, if you don't have enough ideas, like also then it's going to be very hard to, create a sustainable business in that area. So definitely make sure, sit down, brainstorm, and see how many ideas that come to your mind. The next step is a very simple one on paper, in theory, and the hardest step for 99% of all people out there. And that is actually get started. Planning, thinking about the different ideas that you could be doing the competitor analysis, brainstorming ideas, like all that stuff is really cool and fun, but that is not actually doing the thing. And there's like a really cool scene from a podcast that I recently listened to from Chris Williamson, where he's basically just, reading a novel or something, where like the conclusion of that is the only thing that is doing the thing is doing the thing. It's not thinking about it. It's not planning about it. It's not brainstorming or doing a meeting about it. The only thing that is doing the thing is actually doing the thing, if that makes any sense. So what I want to say with all of that is, like, if you have done the competitor analysis, if you have enough ideas where you could, create content about, if you're passionate about it, if your only motive is not just money, then just get started. Like, especially at the beginning, you don't need to have all of the fancy gear and the good microphone and lighting and stuff. Like, just get started with your freaking smartphone. Like, we have been talking about that for the last 4 years on this channel. So you will find tons of free content available on my channel. If you want to get even more, then we also have, the Academy. We'll talk more about that later, but just get started. Commit to getting started right now. I'm always a fan of, when you're watching these kinds of videos, commit to getting started in that moment right now. Start, making the first video, scripting that video, filming it right now, put it out there, because the first step is always going to be the hardest. Ali Abdaal has this framework that I personally really vibe with, and that is get going, get good, and then get smart. So now we already talked about the get going phase, and I hope that you have committed to that. And now the next thing is getting good at the craft. You need to put in the repetition. You need to create tons of videos, create tons of, blog posts, newsletters, whatever that you're doing, whatever, way that you're trying to build your personal brand, but just do it, put in the repetition, and along the way, get good at doing that. And naturally, as you're doing the thing, you will get better automatically. Like if I'm looking back at videos from 4 years ago, like I was not that natural in front of the camera. Like I had to script everything. My English was not as good as it is now. And it just did not feel as authentic as I'm doing it right now. Like at least that's what I'm hoping. So you need to put in the repetition. You need to get good over time. And then like after you have made 100 videos, 50 videos, whatever, then you can start thinking about getting smart and maybe start thinking about how you can monetize your content, like who would be a good partner, like with whom could you collaborate, like all that kind of stuff is going to come along the way. Like for us, I think it took us like over a year until we were at the point where a company just sent us a free gimbal, for example. Like we're not talking about making lots of money at that stage, or like any money at all for that matter. It was just, just seeing some kind of traction. And, also know that I had an unfair advantage that I have been a professional filmmaker before. So that's definitely an unfair advantage that you might not have. So just put in the work, put in the repetition, and and yeah, just see if it's fun for you. Like if you notice after the 5th video that, well, you're not really enjoying that and you realize that you thought that the motive was like it's cool and freedom and fun and flexibility and all that stuff, but it turns out that in the end, like you're not enjoying that at all. It always feels like work, and in the end you're doing it only for the money. Like, you know, it's also fine to pivot, you know, try out different things, try out other routes. There are a million different ways to get to, you know, to get to a stage where you can quit your day job and just make silly videos on the internet like I'm doing right now. If you want to learn more about content creation, about building your personal brand and monetizing your content creation skills, we have just launched the Smartphone Filmmaking Pro Academy. This is the coolest thing that we have ever launched before. It includes 3 programs where we teach you the filmmaking side just with your smartphone, the editing also directly on your smartphone or on your computer, and then the smartphone agency. We teach you how you can land clients, how you can build offers that are so good people would feel stupid saying no to that. And we're also going to show you how you can build your personal brand like we've been talking about today in this video. It's a crazy offer currently. It's just $99 per month. You will get access to everything and can cancel at any time. We already have like over 1,000 people there, so you also get access to a very cool community. We are hosting bi-weekly coaching calls, so like it's an absolute no-brainer offer in my opinion. We've helped so many people. We've gotten really cool responses. We've seen many success stories already. So if you feel like you want to get to the next level and you also want to get direct access to myself and to my team, then definitely make sure to check out the Smartphone Filmmaking Pro Academy. I will link it down below.